Assalamu alaikum. This is Maria Zulfikar welcoming you all to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus calls upon for improving communication system, keeping environment free from negative impacts. Returning caretaker government appeal hearing for 6 days. Next hearing on Tuesday. Bishu Istama to be held after national polls instead of January for security reasons, says religious advisor. Dengue menace on the rise in Chattogram. Physicians advised to follow health rules. US President Donald Trump orders to take military preparations in Nigeria responding anti-Christian violence. And India women cricket team set target of 299 runs against South Africa in Women's World Cup final in Mumbai. Viewers, those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus called for accelerating the integrated development of roads, railways, airways and waterways while keeping nature, the environment and rivers free from negative impacts. He made the call at the inter-ministerial meeting on the evaluation and strategic planning for the Central Integrated Multimodal Transport Sector Master Plan of Bangladesh, held at the State Guest House, Jamuna today. The chief advisor said our communication system is in a very chaotic state. If it is not brought under control quickly, the entire system will become a noose around the economy's neck. He said we must do this work without harming the environment. No harm should come to the rivers. The water must be kept calm, and we must remember that water is a great asset for us. In the meeting, the Road Transport and Highways Division presented a preliminary strategic plan which was prepared by the officials of the concerned ministry based on mutual coordination. This plan showed how the entire communication system of the country can be brought into a disciplined framework through the integration of all types of communication systems and where necessary minor repairs and additions. It stated that significant improvement in this sector can be achieved through the proper utilization of the existing railway, waterways and roadways in the country, and in some cases by increasing their capacity to some extent. Planning Advisor Wahiduddin Mahmood, Road Transport and Bridges and Railways Advisor Muhammad Fazul Kabir Khan, Civil Aviation and Tourism Advisor Sheikh Bashiruddin, Shipping Advisor Brigadier General Retired Dr. M. Shakaut Hussain, Local Government, Rural Development and Cooperatives Advisor Asif Mahmood Shojib Bhuiya, Special Assistant to the Chief Advisor in charge of the Ministry of Road Transport and Bridges and the Ministry of Railways, Dr. Sheikh Moinuddin, Executive Chairman of Bangladesh Investment Development Authority (BIDA), and Beza Chaudhry Ashik Mahmood bin Harun, and Special Assistant to the Chief Advisor in charge of the Ministry of Posts, Telecommunication and Information Technology, Faiz Ahmed Tayyab, and concerned secretaries and senior officials of the concerned ministries were present. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus called for greater awareness on cancer across the country, particularly cancers caused by fatty liver and breast cancer, which has emerged as a major cause of death among women in Bangladesh. The chief advisor made the call during a meeting with leading Singaporean cancer specialist Professor To Hang Chong at the State Guest House, Jamuna, on Saturday evening. Professor To Hang Chong, senior consultant at the National Cancer Centre, Singapore, was accompanied by Ms. Vijaya Rao, Deputy Director of the Singh Health Yunus Global Health Institute, and Ms. Kalvinder Kaur, Healthcare Management Specialist at Singh Health and Edinburgh Napier University. Professor Yunus noted that non-communicable diseases such as cancer, diabetes, and heart ailments have become leading causes of death across South Asia. He emphasized the importance of developing affordable and accessible preventive measures to combat these diseases. We need to build awareness on these diseases nationwide. Treatments for cancer or heart disease are often prohibitively expensive. Preventive measures must be made easier and more affordable, especially for middle class, lower middle class, and poor families, Professor Yunus said. Professor To highlighted that fatty liver disease now affects hundreds of millions of people in South Asia and is increasingly linked to liver cancer and other serious illness. We need to build greater awareness about this disease, he said. The chief advisor also underscored the need for more widespread and low-cost breast cancer screening in Bangladesh. He called for enhanced healthcare cooperation between Singapore and Bangladesh, particularly in training Bangladeshi doctors and medical professionals. Professor To noted that visiting Singapore specialists have trained Bangladeshi doctors earlier this week and expressed hope that such training programs would continue annually. BNP-backed lawyers have demanded the reinstatement of the caretaker government system, declaring former Chief Justice Khairul Haque's verdict abolishing it as illegal. The demand was raised today during the sixth day of appeal hearings before a seven-member appellate division bench led by Chief Justice Dr. Syed Rifat Ahmed. Senior lawyer Zainul Abidin, along with several others, presented arguments in favor of restoring the caretaker system. Attorney General Muhammad Asaduzzaman represented the state during today's proceedings. The appellate division set next Tuesday for the continuation of the hearing. During the hearing, visiting Chief Justice of Nepal, Prakash Man Singh Raut, was present in the courtroom and observed the proceedings. The International Crimes Tribunal has formally framed charges and ordered the commencement of trials in two separate cases against Mahbubul Alam Hanif and Hassanul Haq Inu over crimes against humanity committed in Kushtia during the July uprising. The order was issued today by a three-member judicial panel of International Crimes Tribunal II, headed by Justice Nuzrul Islam Chaudhry. The other two members of the tribunal are retired District and Sessions Judge Muhammad Munjurul Basid and District and Sessions Judge Nur Muhammad Shahriar Kabir. In the case against Mahbubul Alam Hanif and three others, the tribunal framed charges of murder of 6 people, conspiracy and incitement during the July movement in Kushtia. The tribunal set November 25 for the opening statements and the beginning of witness testimony. In another case, the same tribunal framed 8 charges, including 7 counts of murder against Hassanul Haq Inu for alleged crimes against humanity in Kushtia. The tribunal scheduled November 30 for the opening statement and the start of witness examination. Later, Chief Prosecutor Muhammad Tajul Islam briefed reporters, stating that during the July movement, Hassanul Haq Inu advised the use of deadly weapons, including drones, in a phone conversation with Sheikh Hasina to suppress the uprising. Meanwhile, testimony continues in another crimes against humanity case related to the killing of 6 people in Dhaka's Chankarpur area during the July uprising. The case involves former DMP Commissioner Habibur Rahman and 7 others. The testimony is being heard by a 3-member judicial panel of International Crimes Tribunal 1, led by Justice Muhammad Ghulam Murtuza Mozumdar. As of the latest update on the 13th day of testimony, the tribunal was recorded the statement of Rokun Zaman, the 21st prosecution witness and a Caesar least witness. Earlier in the morning, 5 accused, including 4 already in custody in the Hassanul Haq Inu and Chankarpur murder cases, were produced before the tribunal. The referendum may be held on the day of the national election or even earlier, but it should be left to the discretion of Government and Election Commission, said Nahid Islam, convener of the National Citizen Party (NCP), at a press briefing held at the party's central office in Dhaka today. He added that no decision has been made regarding any alliance with BNP or Jamaat, and joining an alliance would not be possible unless they support reforms. Religious Affairs Advisor Dr. A.F.M. Khalid Hussain said this year's Bishu Istama will be held after the national election instead of in January for security reasons. He made the announcement today while speaking to reporters at the Secretariat after a meeting with both the Jubair and Saad factions. The advisor said the national election will be held as scheduled, adding that the interim government is preparing to ensure a free, fair and neutral election. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party (BNP) announced a 10-day program to mark the upcoming National Revolution and Solidarity Day on November 7. Speaking to reporters after a joint meeting at the BNP's central office in Noapolitan, Dhaka Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir shared details of the observance. He said attempts are being made to create instability and authoritarianism in Bangladesh, but the spirit of Bangladeshi nationalism can never be defeated. Mirza Fakhrul urged the leaders and activists of the BNP and its affiliated organizations to observe the day with due respect and significance. Senior central and metropolitan leaders of the BNP were present at the event. This year's Notun Kuri journey began with nationwide auditions held across the country. Thousands of talented children and teenagers participated in this competition, showcasing their skills and creativity in 12 categories, including singing, dancing, acting, recitation, comedy, and hamdanat. On the second day of the final round, 31 contestants took the stage to perform in folk songs, Nozrul songs, patriotic songs, general dance, and storytelling categories. After completing the grooming sessions and qualifying among the top 10, the young participants have now entered the final competition. Renowned artists, actors, and judges from across the country have supported and guided the children throughout their preparation. They expressed that the young participants of Notun Kuri will play a remarkable role in the cultural arena of Bangladesh in the future. In this final round, a total of 127 contestants are competing with 5 finalists from each of the 12 categories. The acute medicine unit at Chittagong Medical College Hospital is currently overwhelmed with dengue patients, filling its beds even as we move further into November. The hospital continues to admit over 10 new patients daily to the unit, though many more are being treated and sent home with medication and instructions. Health officials confirm that over the last 24 hours, 41 new dengue cases were identified across Chattogram city and the district. While the city sees a sustained load of patients, there is some relief for the outer areas as the number of dengue cases is reportedly declining in the surrounding upazilas and other districts of Chattogram. Doctors are urging the public to maintain strict health guidelines to protect against the mosquito-borne illness. Now, international news. US President Donald Trump orders military preparations to carry out attacks in Nigeria in response to purported anti-Christian violence, saying he instructed the recently renamed Department of War to prepare for possible action. In a social media post on Saturday, Trump said the United States would immediately cut off all assistance to the African country if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killings of Christians. The US may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. Trump added, without specifying which groups or alleged atrocities he was referring to. I am hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians. Warning the Nigerian government better move fast, he wrote. The Nigerian government did not immediately respond to Trump's threat. Israel only allowed a fraction of the aid deliveries agreed on as a part of the US-brokered ceasefire, an average of 145 trucks per day instead of the 600 it's pledged to allow into the besieged Gaza Strip. An Israeli strike on southern Lebanon killed 4 people as Israel's ramped-up attacks raise fears for a nearly year-long truce with Hezbollah. Ministers from Arab and Muslim nations will meet in Istanbul on Monday to discuss the next steps in moving the Gaza truce forward, including the deployment of troops for an international stabilization force. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 68,858 people and wounded 170,664 since it began in October 2023. A total of 1,139 people were killed in Israel during the October 7, 2023 Hamas-led attacks, and about 200 were taken captive. Starved and abused civilians have recounted harrowing stories after fleeing the paramilitary rapid support forces in Western Sudan's Darfur, while thousands more remain missing. The capital of North Darfur state was the last Sudanese army stronghold in the vast region before falling to the RSF after 18 months of siege on Sunday. Since then, the United Nations and international aid agencies have raised the alarm over the fate of civilians as accounts of mass killings, rape, and other abuses continue to emerge. Al-Khair Ismail, a young Sudanese man who has fled to the town of Tawila, some 50 kilometers away, said he was among a group of 300 people who were stopped by RSF fighters as they tried to escape El-Fasher. On Sunday, the fighters only spared him because one of the captors recognized him from his school days, he added. Other Sudanese in Tawila also described the fear they experienced after being stopped by fighters.